I can do sit down for two.
All right, so we are ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, commission members, are we ready for action here?
Yes, we are.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, folks, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. My name is Sheila Simon. I'm Lieutenant Governor of the state of Illinois and chair of the Classrooms First Commission. And I first want to thank President Becker for letting us use your facilities here today. We're very pleased to be able to put your place to work for us, and nice to be back here again.
Tomorrow works better. Thursday. Yeah, Thursday will be fine.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let me just really quickly give you a rundown of what has gone on, and then we will have Lynn give a presentation that has a little bit more detail about what our draft recommendations are. But let me start with having the members of the commission introduce themselves. Jimmy, could you start off?
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm Jimmy Gunnell. I'm representing the Illinois Alliance of Special Education Administrators.
I'm Mike Johnson, the Executive Director Emeritus of the Illinois Association of School Boards.
Jason Leahy, Executive Director of the Illinois Principals Association.
And Mike Jacoby, the Executive Director of the Illinois Association of School Business Officials.
Okay, and this has been a hardworking bunch. This is a part of our commission. We have many other members who have participated in hearings across the state, and this is the second time that we've been going up and down the state, so I very much appreciate all of you guys and all the work that you've put in. What we've done, this commission started with a charge from the governor and the legislature to look at school consolidation, among other issues. I asked to be the chair of the commission so that I could steer the conversation towards what I think people are aiming for when they talk about school consolidation, and that's efficient use of public funds and opportunity for every student, no matter what size school they're in. And so those were the two goals that we established early on as a commission and have been able to work towards. We had hearings all over the state. We took a survey. We asked for input in many ways and got input in many ways. I'm very pleased that particularly those early hearings were very well attended and people expressed themselves very clearly. We were listening. What we have to present to you here is a series of draft recommendations based on the public hearings that we did, surveys, the research that Lynn organized for us, and the thoughtful work of members of 4 working groups. And they are draft recommendations. I am hoping that that you may have had a chance to read through them already. If not, I hope that the discussion here will inspire you to go home and read them this evening. We are happy to have comments from you here today, but this is not the only opportunity. If you haven't read them yet or don't have anything in particular that you want to contribute today, please feel free to follow up, send email to our office. We're very easy to track down. And would be happy to use the benefit of your wisdom in getting together the final copy of our report. So with that said, let me now turn it over to Dr. Lynn Haefele, who has been outstanding through the process of this commission, and she will give us a little bit more detailed rundown of what the recommendations are. Lynn.
Thank you. All right. Well, just to get on the page, so to speak, we have legislation behind our commission and basically is asking us, as Lieutenant Governor said, to look at consolidation and where it would be beneficial, but also to look at efficiency and effectiveness and particularly educational opportunity to improve the education of students. So along with that, the commission adopted those 2 goals of improving educational opportunity and improving the efficient use of resources. Is it doing it? Okay, good. I love when that works. All right. We divided our work into 3 stages, and we're actually just in the beginning part of stage 3. In the first stage, we did that research. We listened to a lot of folks. We had a lot of help from the State Board of Education in crunching data from Illinois as well as from other areas. And then, given what our findings from stage 1, we developed some working groups, and they are responsible for pulling together the draft recommendations that you have in front of you. Wait a minute here. And now we're in our final phase of public input and finalizing our recommendations.
And we want to take a minute to welcome Representative Linda Chapelavia, who is here, who's been an outstanding member of the commission and helped shape it in the beginning through legislation. So glad you're here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's a ways away from Aurora. The traffic. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Lieutenant Governor.
All right, so what did we find in the first stage? We found that consolidation is a slow process, but it is occurring on a regular basis, but very slowly. And is still occurring. We have approximately 40 some districts right now currently in discussions around some sort of realignment. We also found that the research out there does not provide a reliable way to determine the optimal size of a district or the optimal number of districts in a state. It's just not possible to make a simple equation and come up with an answer. There's also no one-size-fits-all mechanism for how to be efficient. There's lots of different ways to increase efficiency and opportunity. We also found that consolidation doesn't always save money, but it could be a good way to improve educational opportunities, especially in some of our very small districts. The upfront costs, given our current laws, are pretty prohibitive. And so any mass consolidation scenario doesn't seem to be realistic, and we, as a commission, have come to the conclusion that realignment should be considered on a case-by-case basis. So we looked at 3 approaches, and we're calling them efficiency approaches, but they're also opportunity approaches. One is to pull the districts together in a new configuration or a consolidation. The second is to share services across districts. It could be 2 or 3 districts, or it could be sometimes hundreds of districts sharing, or in-district efficiencies that each and every district could benefit from. And you might call that first type of consolidation, you might call that voluntary consolidation on a case-by-case basis. The second type of sharing we might call virtual consolidation, where you're doing many things together as if maybe you were acting consolidated in many ways. And then there are things that can benefit every district, as we'll mention. So the realignment or consolidation recommendations fall into 3 groups. The first one is to reduce the barriers that districts face when they are interested in realigning or merging with each other. So some of those recommendations involve, for example, allowing non-contiguous districts to get together, or allowing very small districts to dissolve by petitioning their regional board of trustees rather than through a referendum. If you were part of a dual district system with elementary districts feeding into a high school district, there could be some special barriers there. So, for example, holding your grant funds constant when you make that kind of a transition, or allowing you to step down your tax rate to the unit district rate over time instead of having to do it all at once. Another suggestion is a special construction program for those districts wanting to consolidate. And then finally, if you do vote to consolidate, but you need some facilities work, to allow you to delay the effective date of your consolidation till you can make that facility enhancement happen. The second group of realignment recommendations is about who could benefit from consolidation. And so we looked at census projections for small population counties and counties whose population is also expected to decline, their school-age population. It's about 16 counties in the state, and the recommendation is to require some special feasibility and efficiency studies to be conducted in those counties to try to help gain some efficiency and opportunities there. Or another possibility is to design a school efficiency profile using different factors such as school district demographics, finances, performance, etc., and trying to come up with a formula to allow districts to compare themselves to each other and also to potentially identify those that might benefit from consolidation. The final group is to look at the incentives that are paid during a consolidation. And one suggestion is to revise that overall incentive structure using some factors different from the teacher headcounts and things that we use today, such as enrollment, size of the district, the number of districts going together, et cetera. Or a different possibility is to modify the current incentive system by adding some new incentives, such as a special incentive for merging with a high poverty or low performing school district. Often those districts have a hard time finding a partner for consolidation. So you can look at some of those ideas. The shared services is those districts going voluntarily together in what we might call some virtual consolidations. One option is on the education side. And many of you probably already belong to some educational sharing groups if you're from school districts. So there's some very big long-term ideas here, and then probably some that are starting to happen already. The first one is to get away from seat time and Carnegie units and allow students to progress through school at their own pace or at an individualized plan and pace that might be not only efficient but very effective. Might take a long time to move in that direction, but it might be worth starting that conversation. Some P20 recommendations for getting some community college and school district collaborations going if they're not already, to set up some really robust technology and delivery systems to allow as many students as possible to benefit from those, and then finally to beef up and improve the collaboration around regional services. Regional service delivery. On the operations side, this is where the money folks got their heads together and looked at a lot of items related to back office operations and looking at such things as using the financial profile ratings to trigger some studies regarding shared services, to create a resource management service from the data that districts already submit to the State Board of Education. And very much like the interactive report card site, where you could go in and select comparison districts and look at different financial and operations factors and look for best practices, et cetera. Very possibly could save a lot of operations money that could be moved to the classroom. A revolving fund where districts could borrow money to do these studies and then pay back in the short term with some of their savings. Exempting shared services from outsourcing restrictions that are currently in law, creating a best practice and resource repository. If you've already got shared service agreements, maybe others could benefit from how those are written and not have to start from scratch, for example. And then maybe statewide or regional health insurance pools for those that are currently excluded from some of the pools that are already out there. And then finally, what are some things that could benefit all districts? First of all, one suggestion is a 2-year budget cycle for the state of Illinois to allow some long-range planning, at least 1 year out, knowing what you can expect to receive. Flexibility from mandates when the money doesn't come, that's kind of a perennial concept. Beefing up the availability of online professional development for all those mandated trainings that districts have to provide for their employees. Some of our professional organizations are already doing this, but maybe taking that up a few notches. Again, providing resources and sharing of tools that you're finding useful in your district with others. Some generalized recommendations about embedded strategic planning, and finally, the idea of statewide purchasing of database licenses, such as for libraries, et cetera, to take some of that bidding out of that. So that's the overview of the recommendations. You're here at Rock Valley, which is our 4th and final hearing. And I should mention that there's currently a survey on our website, so if any single recommendation catches your eye and you want to comment on it or tell us how you would pay for it, you can go to our website, the Lieutenant Governor's website, and click on wherever you want to make your comment.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lynn. And having said that, we'd like to now move to getting comments from folks. And we have Travis Wilson from Arthur would like to, and we realize this is a small room and everyone could hear each other, but if you could come up to the podium, that way the members of our commission who are going to watch this later will be able to get the benefit of your ideas, Travis. So thank
Thank you
you.
very much. I'm Travis Wilson, the superintendent of Arthur Community Unit District 305. I sincerely appreciate the commission's efforts to listen and to understand the plight of our district adversely affected by educational funding policy, which for us is a precursor to reorganization. Arthur is a small rural school district, PK 12, 525 students. In our case, prior to the elimination of the hold harmless provision, where our GSA was reduced from $1,045,000 to $288,000, and we're a district that has some local ability to pay. Our district had adequate cash on hand. For 3 years now, our board has chosen to spend down our reserves instead of eliminating 15 of 47 certified positions to balance the budget, which would have decimated our curricular offerings. It can't very well go to the grade. We're a 2-building district. It can't very well go to the grade school and eliminate elementary teachers where you've got classes of anywhere between 40 and 50 students. So it would really impact the curricular offerings at the high school. We've, in terms of paying down our fund balance, especially in the education fund, our board has chosen to issue $1.9 million in working cash bonds to offset our losses, moving us to the short term, where we have been successful in annexing a neighboring school district, that's Lovington, taking advantage of current reorganization incentives in order to solidify quality curricular offerings and programs while adding course offerings at the high school level. And that's something that's, through the process, is really exciting for us. Lovington had gotten to the point where they had 4 or 5 teachers at the high school, and just by the mere finances, we were looking at possibly having to make severe cuts, and with that, adversely affecting what we're able to do for kids, and that's the business we're in, doing what's best for children. Arthur High School will be Arthur Lovington High School this July 1st, and we're excited about that. Those implementation measures have been made over this year, and we're really excited about what the new high school is going to bring, about 190 students, and like I had mentioned, additional course offerings to coincide with a quality, well-rounded educational program that we already offer. We have submitted documentation to study reorganization with Atwood-Hammond School District, just 5 miles north of us. Atwood-Hammond's cash-strapped and a curriculum decimated district, and most recently affected by a reduction of $156,000 in general state aid this year as compared to last year. We are currently saving money by the elimination of Lovington High School, a building, superintendent, building administrator. So we're saving on administrative costs, but there are costs that exist that for us to achieve reorganization. This is kind of a different ball game, I know, but transportation, where we're a district of 85.5 square miles, potentially could triple the size of that to about 240 square miles if the Atwood scenario is successful. Currently doubling our size, so the transportation issue remains a concern for us, especially getting kids to and fro with regard to extracurriculars and all that sort of thing. Building costs, I think we've done a really nice job. We've retrofitted 4 underutilized areas and moved teachers' lounges and used storerooms to create 4 new classrooms to accommodate our new students and some of those teachers. So I think we're being real efficient as far as that's concerned. We've got probably about a $370,000 bill to demolish Lovington High School. There's some asbestos concerns at the elementary school, so these are kind of incidental costs, maybe beyond incidental, but you find out things as you go through your reorganization process that you maybe didn't realize the full extent in the beginning. And then, future space utilization, if we're able to pull off the Arthur, Lovington, Atwood, Hammond reorganization, again, retrofitting areas to accommodate students and some teachers as needed in that scenario. Currently, we're making efficient use of current curricular materials, technology, and equipment. And I feel we're strong in the technological area, but we can always do better there. So we anticipate costs in those areas moving forward. And we're also mindful that the current incentives and hopeful that those aren't affected by taking on another partner moving forward. We're mindful that could be a problem, and we hope not. And that's all the time I'll take. I thank you, and welcome to come to Arthur to see this process in action at any time. Do you folks have any questions for me at this time?
No. All right. Well, thank you for the
Well,
information. We appreciate
thank you.
that very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
We received written testimony also.
Okay, and we have some
On
written
the- on-
testimony
on that.
that we'll share. All right. Anyone else who's here? And I know Travis was the only person who signed up, but anyone else who's here is welcome to provide comments as well, including my husband, who's in the back row. He gets lots of opportunities to comment. Anyone else? Anything else from the commission members? Jimmy?
Lieutenant Governor, I do have a question for Travis. Just, I didn't know how many more people, so I was trying to be conscious of the time. I'm familiar with the area, even though I'm from Chicago. Atwood Hammond, are they seeking consolidation at this time? Are they looking toward Tuscola? Are they looking more towards Arthur?
They're looking towards Arthur. We've submitted documentation to the University of Illinois Springfield group that studies the reorganization.
For the feasibility?
Feasibility study.
Okay.
Yeah, they're looking our way. You know, if you're familiar with their situation, they're doing the best they can to get along financially.
Mm-hmm.
Their board authorized the sale of working cash bonds to allow them to get down the road a little bit in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
There was a significant kickback.
Mm-hmm.
The administration and the board along those lines, and they put
Mm-hmm.
a rate increase on referendum issues.
Okay.
2 to 1.
All right.
And as I mentioned, the decrease in general state aid, they're in a real tough situation right now. So
Yeah.
We've it's been an interesting scenario. They were left behind by a co-oping sports partner.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. I was just going to make a comment about that for the benefit of the commission, because I know we've heard from testimony across the state that it really should be a local decision. And you know, if you get the local communities together and they decide that they want to consolidate, it's much more successful and less contentious. And I know that you've co-op programs for many years with Lovington. Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna begin co-op sports. Our board just last month with our neighbors' needs for just right in the short term for those Atwood Hammond kids to
Mm-hmm.
have a place to play football, because they're
Right.
not large enough to have their own team and they lost a co-op partner.
Mm-hmm.
So our board has authorized that we develop definitive agreements in co-op sports, and then
Sure.
sports that we co-op currently. So we're in the process of getting those deals worked
Sure.
out as well.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I had a question.
Yes.
You talked about what you've done with Lovington as far as space. You referred to looking ahead towards if you're able to do something with Atwood Hammond. From a space standpoint, are you going to need to build then to be able to do that?
I didn't mention that specifically, but that's a great question. My vision would be just in the basement of Arthur High School, we currently have a shop area, woods and metal shop area, which could be converted into 4 or 5 classrooms. So if that would be the right direction to go in terms of adding some more space there. Currently, our capacity studies with our architects got us about 392 kids with the 4 classes we've added for Lovington. And if we're going to be about 190 with Lovington, it would get to be, another 100 kids, probably a high school in the neighborhood of 320 if Atwood Hammond would come.
Mm-hmm.
So we would somewhat have adequate space, but the teachers, we're kind of already doubling up some teachers in classrooms, even in the Arthur Lovington scenario. So if we were able to create 4 or so more classrooms in the shop area, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but I would vision brick and mortar or pole barn existence for a vocational area. We have adequate space to add that. I've got the architects looking at those types of things, just to look down the road. But, nothing huge, but just, something that we could provide a little more space and then, lift up a particular set of programs in the vocational area as well.
So if you did that, use that area right now, it'd mean dropping the vocational unless you were able to
No,
put something expensive up or?
No,
Okay.
It just would probably provide more adequate space
Okay.
in terms of accommodating teachers and students, and then having an area where we could put the shops and the FFA and, those programs.
Okay.
Thank-
Anything else? Other members of the commission? No? All right. Well, I said it before, but I really do mean it. If you want to read the draft report and give us some recommendations, good ideas, complaints, otherwise, please pass them along, because that's why we're here. It's been a good process, and we want to continue putting your good ideas to work. So, thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate your participation.
All right, wonderful.